Hello, everyone. Let me know that you can hear me. Hello. Welcome, beautiful souls, to today. Welcome to this life. Welcome to love. Welcome to Soul Sunday. Welcome to another day of the February challenge where we are bringing in the love. We are bringing in the light. Welcome, everyone. I am so glad to be here with each and every single one of you guys. Let me know if this is your first time tuning in with me. Let me know if you've been with me before. I am so excited to be here with each and every single one of you. Always. Hello, Levi. Hello, Annette. Hello, Bear. Hello, Paul. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Let me know if this is your first time with me. Let me know if you are returning. And today we are talking about love. We are doing week 2 of our love challenge. And I'm excited. So I invite you as you come in to just put in the chat, what is one thing that you love? What is one thing that you love? And I'll keep it general. It can be as serious or as silly as you want. What is something that you love? Put it in the chat. And put in the chat, I am new here. Put new if this is your first time with me. Put returning if you have been with me before. I'm curious if where people are coming in from. I'm curious to know if we have new people. I'm curious to know if we have returning people. And I'm curious to know, what do you love? So, if you are new here, my name is Genna Rose Giannetti Kendall, and I am on a mission to heal every single heart that beats and to awaken unconditional love in every single soul on this planet. I pride myself as a love mentor, a love coach, and someone who is on this planet to help us to heal from our deepest wounds, our deepest traumas, to connect back into love and to connect back into our spiritual essence. I pride myself as a spiritual transcendental coach, along with so many other titles, but the essence of what I am here for is love. So I invite you guys to come as you are, whether you are happy, whether you are sad, whether you are angry, whether you are frustrated. I welcome you just as you are. So please feel free to comment. Please feel free to communicate. Please feel free to tell me anything that's going on in your heart. Together we are going to transmute all of this back into love. So Annette says music. I love music too. Who else loves music? Put in the chat. What is one thing that you love? I love this platform. I've been on this platform since 2020, I believe. And it really lights up my soul. I'm here every Sunday. And so I'm going to dive right in. So how today is going to work, how all of my lives work, is I'm going to bring us into just an opening ceremony. And then I am going to do a talk today, which is all about self-love. And the way in which I am defining self-love today is different than how most people would describe self-love. And so stay tuned for that. And if you were with me last week, put in the chat if you were here last week. Say last week if you were here last week. And this is week 2 of the Love Challenge. And last week I challenged you guys to stillness. I challenged you to presence. I challenged you guys to sit with yourself in complete silence, without distraction, without music, for 30 minutes at least a day. I'm curious, who did it? Who didn't do it? How did it go for you? How did that land? Put that in the chat. I want to know. And so I'm going to invite us right now to just close down our eyes real quick as we open up the circle. And I invite you to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. We're not going to be here long, but just come into this stillness. Come into presence. Breathing in and breathing out. And now I invite you to breathe into your heart, maybe placing your hands on your heart. Breathing lots of love in. Holding that love, feeling that love, feeling the beating of your heart. And then exhaling. Breathing lots of love out. And I invite you to set an intention today for this session. What is it that you intend? What is it that you need? What is it that you desire? Why have you shown up today? Bring that into your heart. And I invite you to call upon wherever you find your faith, whatever guidance you need today, whether it's God, Goddess, Spirit, ancestors, past self, future self, animals. Invite in whatever it is that you would like to guide you. And breathe that in. And breathe that out. And finally, I invite you to imagine the light of this guidance shining down on you, igniting and lighting up every single part of your being, from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. Imagine this guide, this spirit, as love, the divine love, lighting yourself up with love, lighting yourself up with presence, with compassion, with kindness. And then imagine as you fill up your own self-love, your own cup, your own vessel of this human body, this name that you are, send this love out to everyone that is listening. Every single person that is listening now, every single person that's listening to the replay, the podcast, the YouTube, send this love out. And feel this transmission of love coming back to you, and then sending more love out. Starting to shift ourselves into the knowingness that the more love we give, the more love we receive. So starting with feeling the love pouring in from spirit, from the divine. Then sending lots of love out. And then feeling lots of love come back in. So often in our lives, we wait for someone or something to love us before we will love them. I invite you to change the course, the route of love right now. And choose to send love, to give love, to be love, to then receive it back. Knowing that when you show up fully as the love light that you are, you receive the light of love back. For everything externally is only a reflection of the love for yourself. So give the love to yourself. Give the love back to the people, and then feel the love coming back. Giving love not because you need love back, but because it feels good to have love. Breathe that in and breathe that out. And then whenever you're ready, coming back into this space, feeling more complete in love. Wiggling your fingers and your toes, noticing what you feel, noticing what you taste, noticing what you smell, noticing what you hear, and finally opening up your eyes and notice what you can see. Welcome back, beautiful loves. Welcome back. So let me know in the comment, how was that for you? How did it feel to be in love? How did it feel to give love? How did it feel to receive love? How did the message of giving love before you receive love feel to you? Put that in the chat. Communicate with me. Talk to me. So I invite you guys today to listen. I invite you guys today to take what resonates and to throw away what doesn't. Everything that I say today, everything I speak about today and every single day is my own truth. My truth may or may not be your truth, and that's okay. I don't believe that one truth is ultimate truth. I believe that we have different names and different skin colors and different cultures and different beliefs because we're all unique, and we need to celebrate that uniqueness. So take nothing that I say as truth. Take it as my truth. And if it resonates, use it as your truth. And if it doesn't resonate, throw it away and find a new truth. So, last week we talked about, this is week 2 of our Love Challenge in Soul Sunday. If you are not yet following me, please make sure to follow. If this resonates today and you get value out of it, I welcome you guys to always leave a donation. Never expected, but appreciated. So, last week we talked about stillness. We talked about presence. Who was here last week? Put last week. I am curious, how did the challenge for last week go? So last week we talked about the first step in love is to be able to be fully present with yourself without distraction. We spoke last week about how so often we have this feel, this subconscious feel of being in stillness, to being in quiet, to being still without the music playing in the background. Because when we are in stillness, when we are in quietness, those voices in our head that reflect back at us, either everything we love about ourselves or everything that we feel is flawed about us. We have voices in our head that either say, I love that person, or we have voices in our head that says, that person's doing a horrible job at life. And we start judging. And so it's this reflection of what they call good and bad, which I don't believe there is a good or a bad. But we start to hear these voices in our head, and it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to sit with the shadow self. It's uncomfortable to sit with the darkness. We'll feel for that if we are alone without distraction to face the shadow. And I want to invite you, and I invited you guys last week. And again, if you were here last week, I want to know, how did the challenge go? But I invite you guys always that the first step in love is to not only love the aspects of yourself that are good and are light and society would celebrate, but to also find love in the things you do not prefer. To find love in the parts of you that are angry. To find love in the parts of you that are bitter. To find love in the parts of you that want to blow the world up because you can't stand what the world looks like. Because when you can love the parts of yourself that you do not prefer, it's going to transmute not only yourself, but the world. Before you can love anyone else, you have to first love yourself completely. Because the world outside of you is only a reflection of you. And so I invite you guys always to sit in the stillness, to be present with not just the things you prefer about yourself, but to be aware and to be in stillness with the parts of yourself that you don't prefer, and learn to love that part of you. And learning to love that part of you starts with having self-compassion, having kindness to yourself, recognizing that that aspect of yourself that you may not prefer, the aspect of yourself that you may not like, is serving you in some way. That the part of yourself that you don't prefer is keeping you safe. That part of you that judges you or the part of you that you don't like that judges people, is a safety mechanism by biology to keep you safe. The part of you that gets angry, love that part, because that inner child, that child version of yourself, needed that anger to keep you safe. All of these things, these shadow aspects of ourselves, we can bring light to. Just like in the darkness, the stars are the most beautiful aspect of the night sky. We bring light to the darkness, and it makes it less scary. Does that resonate? How does that feel? So that's what we talked about last week, is bringing light to the darkness. We talked about being in stillness. So again, I asked, did you do the challenge? Levi, did you do the challenge? Annette, were you here last week? Did you do the challenge? Hello, Anna, were you here last week? Lalita, let me know. And so today, we're going to take our love challenge to the next level. And we're going to dive even deeper into self-love, more self-love. So we brought awareness to the self last week, right? So last week was about presence of self. Now I want to actually dive into self-love. So I ask you to put in the chat, I ask you to put in the comments, before I go there, put in the chat, what does love mean to you? How do you define love? Put that in the chat. So first comment is, how do you define love? What is your definition? I am curious. How do you define love? There's no right, there's no wrong answer. I won't bite. So for me, the way in which I define love is the essence of who we are. Love, to me, is not something we do. Love is not something we give. Love is not something we receive. Love is who we are. It is our beingness. And so when we are in our authentic beingness, in the authentic being of love that we are, we naturally give love. We naturally attract and receive love. And then we naturally act in ways of love. But love is not something we give. Love is not something we receive. Love is not something we do. Love is not the gifts that we receive. It's not the words of affirmation. It's not the acts of service. It's not, what's the other love languages? It's not the quality time. It's not the physical touch. Love is the beingness. So when, for example, you are in the beingness of the love that you are, when you are in your authenticness, and you can say, what excites me most? And you say, music. Music excites me most, right? I love music. Love, in me, I am the music. You naturally will speak in those love languages that we talk about, and you may give the affirmation of love. You may then give the gift of music to people, right? We then start to act, we then start to give, we then start to receive, we then start to do acts of love. But those things are not love themselves. Does that make sense? Does that resonate? Put that in the chat if it resonates. Put landing in the chat. And so, self-love, so first we define love. That's how I define love. So put in the chat, how do you now define self-love? What does self-love mean to you? And don't be shy. I want to hear from you. I want to talk. Don't be shy. I won't bite. How do you define self-love? I'll give you a minute. So I am going to define self-love different than how I would imagine that most people would define self-love. And the way in which I'm going to define self-love today for this moment is the knowing that everything and everyone is you. And that everyone outside of you is you, and that you are everyone. That self-love means loving yourself as if you were everyone else, and loving everyone else as if you were yourself. Not seeing the separation, loving the self. Yeah, but what is self? And that's what we talked about last week, right? Last week was discovering the self. It was being a presence with the self. So now we're talking about actually loving that awareness, loving that self. So today I invite the idea that self-love means seeing everything and everyone as self, and seeing yourself as everyone. Does that make sense? And having that which you call love, that we define love, the essence as that we are, is that everything is essence. Everything is energy. Everything is spirit. That we are that God, goddess, absolute, that we pray to, that we ask to guide us, that individually me, as Genna Rose, the individual Genna Rose is not God. But the collective consciousness of Genna Rose and Olivia and Levi and Annette and every person that walks this planet and the animals and the molecules and the cells and the plants, the makeup of all of that is that energy of God. And that is love. And so to love self means to love other. And to love other means to love self. And so self-love, I ask you guys in the chat to put, what does it look like now to love yourself? What does it look like to love yourself? And if you are anything like me, I'll share a little bit about my past and my history. I feel like I came out of my mother's womb. I feel like I came out of my mother's womb looking for this soulmate, looking for this life partner. I vividly remember as a child being on the playground at 3 years old, looking for my husband. And by the time I was 10 years old, I had my whole wedding planned. And as I bet you guys could imagine or guess from my story, my whole life looked a whole lot like me looking for love in all of the wrong places. I was looking for a boy and then a man to love me because no one told me or taught me how to love myself, primarily because my parents were unable to love themselves. And I think just that generation in general, maybe I'm wrong, but at least my experience, I don't think self-love was talked about then. You know, it was this idea that you're supposed to love other people, but you don't love yourself. And so I started to look for love in all of the wrong places, and it got me in some pretty dicey situations, just to say the least. It got me into some really painful moments, some painful heartbreaks that have now led me to become the heart healing coach that I am. It's what brought me to my journey today. But if someone would have said to me, Genna, look in the mirror and tell me, what do you love about yourself? It could have transformed everything. And so Olivia, you said, I'm sorry, sidetrack. Olivia, you said, what about people you don't like? I love this question. I believe that love is unconditional, but someone's presence in your reality is conditional if it interferes with your own level of self-love for yourself. So if you are struggling to love someone, if there was something that you don't like about someone, that aspect that you don't like, I'm going to challenge you. You're not going to like it, but that aspect that you don't like in them may just be a subconscious part of yourself that you have not yet faced, that you don't like about yourself. For example, let's say someone lies. Okay, I think we can all agree. I think you can put in the chat. No one likes to lie, all right? Who loves being lied to? Put your hand up. No one. No one loves being lied to, right? I think we can all say that we don't like being lied to. And if someone lies to us, we might deem them as a liar and we might not like them. And when we see someone that lies, I invite you to reflect that back to yourself and ask yourself, where do you lie? When did you just lie? And recognize that that very thing that you don't like in someone else is something that you don't like in yourself. If you see someone as abusive or hurtful or mean, reflect that back at yourself and ask, where am I abusing myself? Where am I being mean to myself? Where am I being unkind to myself? And notice what shifts and notice what changes in your reflection of the world, but even more, your reflection of yourself. Again, it's about facing that shadow self. And so, for example, Trump is a big, huge trigger word right now. Okay. So I'm going to lovingly trigger you guys. And I'm going to say Trump. And I can feel some skin is boiling, right? Some blood is boiling, right? People either love Trump or people either hate Trump. If you're in the United States, whether you're in the United States or not, I think everyone universally knows his character of Trump. Even if you dislike Trump, you can still choose to unconditionally love Trump. You can find one thing, just one thing about Trump, one thing about anyone that you see as good, that you see as whole, that you see as kind. You might not love what he stands for. You might not love what he's doing. But you could say, I love that he's on a mission. I love that he's trying. I love that he wears a red tie. I love that red tie. I love the memes that are going around. Find one thing. And when you focus on the one thing that you love about another, you're going to see more. If I said to you right now, basic psychology, let's play a game. Who wants to play a game with me? I'm going to say, look around the room and find everything that's red. Put in the chat, how many red things do you see? Put in the chat, red. Look for everything red. Put in the chat. Anthony, that's a great question. I'm going to get to that in a minute. It's a very great question. Put in the chat, how many red things do you see? 0. Okay. Now, a few. Okay, so how many blue things did you see? You don't know. Now you're looking for the blue things. So our mind is designed to look for the things that we focus on. So if you focus on the things that you don't like in someone, you're going to get more of the things you don't like in them. If you focus on the things you love, you're going to get more things you love. Our biology, our actual brains are set and designed for this. So that's my long-winded answer on what about people you don't like? Does that resonate? Does that help? Does that land? Put land in the chat. Put in the chat something that I said, some breakthrough that you had, some aha moment that you had. So Anthony said, how do you see the link between self-love and sexuality? I believe that at the core of who we are just sex. I believe that sex brought us into this world. The act of sex brought us into this world. And it's who we are at our core. And so the very being that we are is a sexual being. No matter where you're at in your sexual journey, we are a sexual being. I believe it is why sex is such a hot topic. And it is often talked, or it's often taboo, because sexual energy is the most powerful energy in the whole entire world. And when you are able to harness your sexual energy, when you're able to use your sexual energy with intention, manifesting with your sexual energy, the very energy that you are, not just the sexual act, right? Not just penetration, not just the sexual act, but the very sexual being that you are. When you are able to harness the energy that you are, you can transform worlds. You're able to create and manifest anything in your life. Just as you can create a baby with your sexual energy, you can create a loving relationship. You can create more money. You can heal your body of disease. Sexual energy is it's the most powerful energy in the world. And so the way in which self-love relates to this is the way in which that you are able to connect with that. Does that make sense? You said you're confused, Olivia. What are you confused about? Well, now we're going on a whole different topic. Now we're on the topic of sexual energy, which I love this. I love this, and I can do a whole live on sexual energy. I actually have a course. I have a course on sexual energy. I have a course on how to manifest with sexual energy. I have a sexual cord cutting course. So if you are interested in that, send me a message, because I could literally create a whole live on sexual energy. And unfortunately, I've actually tried to put the sexual energy course on Insight Timer, but Insight Timer, it prohibits the course. So if you're interested in that, send me a message. No, that's okay. But I will answer your question a little bit. So how to generate sexual energy. The way in which you generate sexual energy is by aligning it with the most basic, easiest way. And again, I could go on to a whole topic. I could go on for hours around this. But generating sexual energy is being able to harness your sexual energy, being able to almost contain your sexual energy, and to flow your sexual energy through your chakras, through your root, through your sacral, through your solar plexus, through your heart, through your throat, through your third eye, through your crown chakra, and bringing that energy back down. So often in the act of sex, when we're talking about actual physical sex, we keep that energy in our sacral chakra, right? We keep the energy actually in your actual sex. But the way you harness it is by flowing the energy through your body and then manifesting with it at that point of release. Instead of releasing, to imagine what it is that you want to create. If you can create a baby, you can create more money. You can heal your body. You can create the dream relationship. To harness that energy, and then I invite you as a man, I'm assuming you're a man, Anthony, is to withhold from that release and to save that release and to only, this is my suggestion, take what resonates and throw away what doesn't, only release on a full moon or a new moon or maybe once a month. And to literally harness all of that energy that you've used throughout the month, and then use that once a month, two times a month at most. And then at that point of release, at that point of ejaculation, manifesting and imagining that which you want to create. So let's say you want more money. Imagining serving people. Imagine helping people. Imagine people coming and wanting your services. Imagine money coming in. Imagine money coming out. And imagine that. Instead of what society shows as the porn industry. Using your sexual energy to create the life that you dream of. Okay, so that's my answer for that. So if you have any more questions, if you want to know any more about that, send me a message. I'm happy to talk to you about it. And coming back to self-love. So let me know if that landed. I'm going to just take a minute to just rewire back to what we were talking about before. So before we can love anyone else, we have to be able to fully and completely love ourselves. And loving ourselves means not only loving the things that we prefer, not only loving the things that we like about ourselves, but loving the things that we dislike about ourselves. And the way in which we love the things we do not like about ourselves is by having compassion for those parts of ourselves, having kindness for those parts of ourselves, recognizing that those things that we do not prefer about ourselves are serving us in some way, or it wouldn't be there. The anger that you dislike about yourself serves you. When you know what you don't want, you know more clearly what you do want. Your anger, for example, shows your passion. It shows your drive. It shows your life force. It shows that you stand for something. When you get really, really angry at someone, it's another way of saying, I stand for kindness. I stand for more love. I stand for peace. I will not be treated that way. You will not treat someone else that way. So love those parts of yourself. And so my challenge, well, almost 40 minutes in, we got a little sidetracked today, but I hope it helped. Let me know if my sidetrack still, benefited you guys in some way. But your challenge for this week is to see everyone outside of you as you, and to see you as everyone. To love everyone the way that you would love yourself, or the way that you want to be loved. And to love yourself to the same amount that you would love someone else. And so what I started to say, and then I got sidetracked before, is on my journey, I'm going all the way back to what I was talking about before, I apologize, is that growing up, I looked for love in all of the wrong places. And I looked for, this life partner and this soulmate and this husband. And no one taught me self-love. And, oh God, I just lost my train of thought again. This is why I should take notes. Stay with me, people. I'm so sorry. Oh, okay. That's what I was going to say, is that I wasn't taught self-love. And so I was loving all of these people instead of loving myself. And I want to invite you guys, if you are anything like me, so often it is so easy for us to love other people. It's so easy for us to love our partners. It's so easy for us to love our friends. It's so easy for us to love our pets and our children. But it's so hard for us to love ourselves. It's so easy for us to spend time with someone else. It's so easy for us to go and spend our money and treat someone to a gift, right? But how often are you giving yourself a gift? I want to invite you and I want to challenge you this week to fully show up to love yourself, to do one act, at least one act, maybe one act a day, but at least one act this week to fully show up for yourself in complete self-love. And I invite you to then see everyone outside of you as an aspect of you. So, how could this look? This might look like self-love, might look like you going and working out, loving your body. Self-love could look like you reading a book. Self-love could look like you going and getting a massage. I want to challenge you this week to do at least one a day, but at least one a week of something to fully love yourself. And then I want you to then go out and give love to someone else, not from the place that they are outside of you, but from the place that they are you. And so I'm talking about it as the aspect of spirit, the aspect that everyone is you and you are everyone, having a different human experience, living a different lifetime, living in a different body, but they are you. So my question is, will you do it? Will you do it? Will you choose to step into self-love? Will you choose to step into self-love? What is one thing, put in the chat, what is one thing that you can do this week for yourself? What is one thing that you will vow to do for self-love this week? Put in the chat. What is one thing that you can do for yourself? Allowing us to hold you accountable. Meditation, beautiful. Okay, guys. So, yoga, yes, yoga, meditation. What else? What can you do for yoga? Yes. Okay, and so next week, I'm going to hold you accountable for you coming back and you loving yourself. Okay, guys, I have to be transparent. I have to be honest. For those that don't know, I am a mama. I have a beautiful 9-month-old baby. And one of the reasons I have been so sidetracked today is because my little boy, I have continued to hear him crying downstairs. My husband's with him. My husband's great. And it is pulling on my heartstrings right now. And I feel I need to leave to go tend to my son, to see what's going on with my son, to give him love so that I can give myself self-love. It is breaking my heart right now to hear him crying. I can't stay here a moment longer. So I am so sorry that I am ending soon. But I will be back next week. If you missed any of this will be uploaded on my YouTube channel. You can go to my YouTube channel, Genna Rose Giannetti, and I invite you guys to follow me on social media, find me on Instagram, find me on Facebook, Genna Rose Giannetti, and let's connect, let's love each other, and I will see you guys next week. Again, I'm so sorry. I have to step into mommy mode. I love you guys so much. I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and thank you guys so much for understanding. I'll see you next week.